Right, we're on. I said that we'd get this exclusive, and now I am. I've actually followed through. We're on our way to the Vanta Jam. I'm here with Sam Reynolds.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Olly's special edition podcast.
Yeah, this is the podcast. So we're taking the podcast on the road. Big BK's driving us to Vanta Jam.
At 70 miles per hour.
At 70, or was it 70?
Yeah.
Oh, he was as well.
There you go.
Makes a change. Yes.
Fuel's too expensive, really.
Fuel nightmare at the moment. I don't know if the video version of this is going to be that usable, I'll be honest. Quite an aggressive angle I'm rocking right now. Yeah, we're here with Sam. He's just got back from the fest, from
Dark Fest. Ollie, I don't know if you remember, it's actually not part of the Fest series. The Fest guys would like to make that very clear.
I actually slipped up then because that was my first point on my list of homework that Davey has given me.
Davey.
But just this year looked better than ever. Maybe you can talk about it.
Thanks, Ollie. I'll take the GoPro from you there and your little mic. Yeah, we're doing a podcast in the back. We're trying to get distracted by guys in the front. But thanks, it was the best probably year ever. Kind of like each year, we kind of come back where we left off. And this year, instead of rebuilding the whole set of jumps, we covered them up with like tarps and stuff. So actually there was a lot less work to do on the course. So yeah, it was actually really cool. And we had a massive crew this year, the biggest one ever. I think we had 25 riders. Bren was there, out in front, he's also in the van. And yeah, it was actually just the best time ever. We had girls for the first time, which was super cool and interesting. They were actually, they were amazing, they were. Yeah, really.
Outside perspective, everyone was studying pretty good.
Oh, thanks Bernard. Bernard liked it as well.
It was a good addition. I didn't expect so much of the course to get ridden. I thought you were building a separate line, or I thought but actually it looked like the warm-up line was really good as well. And the warm-up line you extended, right?
Yeah, so that actually was kind of, because Darkfest is fairly windy, the jumps are almost 100 foot. You don't always, you just need the absolute perfect conditions to ride them. So we did build a warm-up line, so it's called. It's still like 50 foot, so it is actually still quite gnarly.
I've been there once and I had to ride something.
Yeah.
You know? And I was terrified of those things. They're like...
Yeah, and we rebuilt that, and we thought it's like, for anyone that had never been before, and including all the girls, we thought it'd be a great like warm-up line to get used to the high speeds, because it is a different way of jumping, really. Sort of, you fly the bike, it's a lot more like motocross. Yeah, Lego manning, yeah. No, not Lego manning.
What way is it different? Like, in what way would you say jumping jumps that size is different?
You like steer it with the bike in the air. It's not like you do the work off the takeoff, but that's not all of it. You kind of have to hold the bike in the air, and you can kind of fix mistakes a bit more. It's like if anyone's jumped a big motocross table, it's a lot more like that. You kind of wait up in the air and sort of, yeah, you can kind of fly it and steer it. It's quite hard to explain.
So it's less of a carve up a lip, would you say, or is it more like?
Yeah, I don't know, it's hard to explain.
Slow motion.
It's just different. Yeah, you can't carve up the lip.
Yeah.
If you turn your wheels in the air, because there's so much like, you're slicing through the air at such a high speed, you turn the wheel and it kind of steers your whole bike around.
Yeah.
And it's quite easy to go over the bars as well. So it's nice to learn on like some nice 50 footers. And we kind of thought the girls would definitely ride those for at least 3 or 4 days, but actually they just rode it for one morning and then they came straight over to the big line and cracked it all out with us. There are actually some guys that spent more time on the warm-up line than the girls.
Yeah, that's rad. That's so gnarly. I mean, is there part of it that terrifies you? Because there's obviously, like, for them as well, I imagine being one of the girls, you'd feel the pressure.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, you'd feel like you had to perform more than maybe some of the guys. I don't know, but just there must be like some worry and responsibility that comes with running the event.
Massive responsibility.
Male or female, I mean. But like the addition of girls, it would be more scary, I would imagine, because you feel like they're going to send it harder because they've got a point to prove or whatever.
Yeah, well actually they were super sensible, and it's actually the boys that always hurt themselves, which I do feel responsible inviting people to come and ride like the most dangerous sort of jumps of all time, and especially with girls, like you said, I don't know why, but it just feels worse to send them off jumps for some reason. I guess they're a bit more delicate. I think that's fair to say, isn't it? And if the boys crash,
used to it, dude. Like,
they break their legs as well. Like if you crash those jumps, you almost don't not go to hospital. So
you run a tightrope and saying the wrong thing, but ultimately, like you don't actually, like in our group of friends, you don't get a chance to ride with girls all the time. So I still think, in my head, I think exactly the same. I think like you want to like be a little bit more careful in general with something physical.
Well, especially because you don't know. And the thing actually all comes from Audi 9s, because they got invited there for the first time. They were so impressive there. They jumped all the jumps that we weren't sure what they were going to do. And so I kind of thought, wow, they've just never been actually given the opportunity to see what they can do. So let's really give them an opportunity to see what they can do right against the boys, like on equal terms. And
that's the deep end, man.
I have to say, they exceeded every expectation I had. And
Amazing.
They literally jumped every jump, even the 90-footer, which is a serious jump. There's no room for error there. Yeah, they jumped that. Robin and Casey jumped that. And actually all of them, I think they would have done a full top to bottom run, but the last few days were windy, so we'll have to wait for next year, eh?
To wait for next year. We've just pulled up at the service station. We're going to continue the questions in a bit. Before our break, we were talking to before we stopped for cookies, we were talking to Sam about I remember now. I've already told you the question, but it was something I was thinking about. I was thinking about if you were to stop, no one would know. Like, you've built up an amount of knowledge about building jumps over 100-foot jumps, basically. If you were to stop, no one would know how to do it again. You've developed jumps now. They look like they work perfect now.
Kinda, yeah. I guess people could make 100-foot jumps, but people make jumps pretty wrong as well. Like, going round to all white parks and stuff really makes you realise how little people know about making jumps and making them safe.
Well, that's sick, because then if you've got, let's say, even if it was 3 tips on how you make jumps safe at speed that you've learned from building the world's biggest, then please.
Literally, yeah. One, just get Sea-Dog to come, because he'll make it so good and so quick. But people, the biggest mistake everyone always makes is to have a curvy transition to the top. Like, the transition has to slow down towards the top, and even we put about a bike length of no transition, so completely flat end of the takeoff, to help you kind of fly straight through the air. Like in a skate park or a jump box or a spine, it curves all the way to the top of the transition, but that's okay because it tips you forwards, because it kind of kicks the front wheel then the back wheel, so it kind of makes you lean forward. And obviously on a 100-foot jump, that's not what you need, because there's so much air time, it will kick you over the front. So you need a super smooth transition, really consistent, and then to level out at the end. So especially with downhill bikes and suspension bikes, it doesn't compress and fire you over the bars, which a lot of bike parks do curve the takeoffs all the way to the top, and that's literally the best way to fire someone over the bars and make it dangerous. The safer the jump is, the more fun it is, really, isn't it? Because then you can make it dangerous as you want by whipping and stuff and doing tricks. But yeah, if it's a stable takeoff, that's the best way. That's the biggest mistake. Also, make your landings massive, because just why not? A smaller landing is hard to land on, isn't it? So you've got more room for error. But yeah, like you said, we spent the last 5 years really perfecting this line now, and I think it showed this year because everyone got through it straight away. We didn't have any mega overshoots, mega cases, or any crashes just from jumping jumps actually, which is really cool.
Definitely. I remember the first few years, it's you get to the end and people are stoked on just getting to the end. Obviously 100%. Everyone's still stoked getting to the end, but people are actually putting together runs now, which is
definitely, it's changed, and that only comes over years of experience, because the jumps are so big and they take one takeoff takes 1 day completely to rebuild, not even to build, just to reshape and make the surface perfect takes 1 day. So if it's not right, we almost don't have time until next year to change it. So every year we learn something we want to change, and actually this year, for the first time, I don't know what we'd change. I think finally everything is pretty damn perfect, and
would you say you've reached big jump perfection?
Almost, yeah. It's sounds stupid, but it's a lifetime's work, that line actually, because it's taken the blood, sweat and tears, literally blood, because there's been a few broken bones. I broke my arm testing a jump that we got wrong, and now it's all those years of work, and I think finally, hopefully that's in my opinion, the funnest line ever made. You wouldn't want it in your back garden. You have to get quite ready for it, but yeah, it's super sick, and everyone seemed to like it. I think it was the best year yet.
Wicked. Right, my last question, and then we can go back to enjoying our cookies.
Okay.
What's next for it? Do you have a plan for next year already, or where is it going?
Actually, it's such a savage month that we just got back. I almost can't think about doing it again right now, because it's so much hard work every single day, and quite stressful. and it's like looking after children as well. Free riders are not like, they're hard work actually, to be honest. But next year, I guess we'll go back. I don't know. There's a few plans, but we don't really know. I'd like to see some girls go top to bottom next year, and I'd like to see more runs. Like the MBA was really putting together top to bottom like trick runs on every feature, which we've never had like a prize for the best run because it's such a difficult thing to do. But maybe we'll introduce that next year and have it as more of like I don't know, the grand prize can be the best run or something. I don't know, but myself, I'd like to put a few runs in next year now that the jumps are really where we want them to be. And I don't know, who knows? Maybe a series would be good, wouldn't it? Maybe a different one in Europe somewhere. We'll see. If anyone's got a mountain, we'd love to come check it out.
Perfect. Big thanks to Sam for that. Make sure you check out the official Darkfest highlights edit, which is on the Monster Energy YouTube channel.
It is. Links in the show notes, everyone.
That's right, links in the show notes. Back to the show.